But
So is there anything you guys liked from Jacobs in this fight?
I like that he fought a competitive fight with.
You got to give me more detail, man.
I mean, I like the later
No, because
rounds.
one of my casual
I
friends.
like that he paid the fan.
One of my casual.
I like it. He was like, forget it. I'm just gonna take my weight. I'm gonna take my weight, and I'm gonna take the hit. I'm gonna take a $900,000 hit. Take my 4 pounds and move on.
I wish.
Go for it.
I wish you would have, like, even in the later rounds, like, you knew you need a knockout to
Yeah.
win. Why not, like, literally
Go for
go
broke, yeah.
all out?
Mm-hmm.
Might as well. Otherwise, Canelo can't drop
Yeah.
him. He's too big.
Getting hit hurts,
But
especially getting hit by Canelo.
I like that. To me, it's just he never found a rhythm.
He never, yeah.
He never looked comfortable in his stance. That's
So
why
you
he was
guys didn't
switching
like
back
shit,
and forth.
basically. That's what you're telling me. What'd you
No,
like?
I don't.
Honestly,
I don't think he looked like.
I don't think he looked bad. He didn't look bad, but Canelo just looked better.
Yeah, I didn't like a whole lot, man. Like, obviously, like, I like the later rounds where he got some action going, but
Dang, you guys just argue with me for like past 20 minutes, and you can't find a compliment to give to Jacobs.
I gave him one.
What, that he paid the fine?
I'm glad he didn't try and bust his ass to make weight.
Is there
That he
anything you
just paid
liked
it.
in
That he
the
just
fight?
paid it.
In the fight, anything you liked in the ring?
No, not in particular.
What about you?
I just like how he fought the later rounds, but not enough. I wanted to see that throughout the whole
No,
fight.
I mean I did like. It's not really like I said. It wasn't a scrap, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't a barn burner fight,
Yeah.
so it's not like one of those fights that you can look at and go, "Wow, this was highly." This was not the fights at the Forum a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you look at it and you can appreciate only the craft that you see,
Mm-hmm.
right? And most of the craft that you witnessed in that fight was coming from Canelo. Like
Yeah.
like the pure craft was
All right,
coming
so I'll
from
switch
him.
up the question. What's the best thing that you liked about Canelo?
I thought Canelo's defense was on point. Canelo's defense looked very good. I think Canelo always appears to have just a little something extra on his punches. I don't know if you guys feel like that,
Yeah.
but like every punch he throws with purpose.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that like there are some guys who are head hunting, they're throwing with malintent. His punches are just so crisp that they just seem like they have a little something extra on it. In fact, it's one of the reasons that I think that there's some judging bias with Canelo in the past, why you get such wide margins on certain rounds where you're like, that doesn't make sense. How did he get a draw? It's because he's just got really crisp, sharp
Yeah, because
shots.
even when he's in exchanges that are competitive exchanges, for some goddamn reason, his
looks better.
punches look more crisp. They look more accurate. They look like they landed right where he intended them
Yeah.
to.
I think you put up a
You know?
post up right on your Instagram
Yeah.
where Jacobs threw like 7 punches,
Yeah,
and
and
the one
that's
punch
what I-
that Canelo
Yeah.
threw was the cleanest
And
one.
that's
It
what I
was the
asked. That's why I
cleanest,
put
yeah.
in the caption, what do you like? Do you like, being the busier fighter, or do you like being the more inward, quote unquote effective fighter? And
Yeah.
people got super butthurt, like, oh, you're implying that Canelo was better. I'm like, I'm asking you a fucking question, so
yeah.
thank you for answering.
Well, it is
I'm like,
like-
you clearly answered that you rather have the busier fighter. Thank you for. But
No,
people
there's
like
a
are
bias
so
in that question,
defensive.
though.
Yeah.
There's a bias in that question. When you say, do you like the busier fighter or the fighter who's more effective, it implies that Daniel Jacobs'
Wasn't
punches
effective.
are not as effective as the one that Canelo landed.
But
But you
because
don't
if
know
you,
that.
but because if you see on the post,
What it
They
is.
none
weren't
of them
effective.
they didn't land well.
That-
Yeah.
He was
didn't,
like,
but
they
in that
landed
exchange, I think I know which exchange you're referring to. It's the one where Canelo's on
Against
the
the
ropes,
ropes, yeah.
right? Where he
Against
Hey,
the ropes.
Take a shot.
I know. The one where Canelo's against the ropes and Danny throws like 7 punches in that exchange. In that exchange, he lands a body shot. He lands an uppercut, right? Now, Canelo's looks crisper when he lands it.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that Daniel Jacobs' punches weren't effective because you actually don't know if they were or not. Like, you don't know what effect
Canelo
that those
came
punches
right
had
out,
on.
so it wasn't
Yeah.
as effective.
Maybe they weren't effective in terms of like percentage landed,
Damage.
like or damage per se, because you throw 7 punches and it seems like the other guy hurt you
Okay,
with
but
one.
it-
It wasn't. Let me
But
tell you
did it
this.
seem like that? So at the
yes,
end of the day-
it wasn't the 7 punches you saw
what it
Gallo
seemed.
throw to Rungvisai the Friday before. Those punches were 7 punches,
Yeah.
combination, and that should look
It
good.
landed.
I'm just saying,
And they landed.
you all are making a number of assumptions here. Like, for instance, at the end of that fight, I'm sorry, was Daniel Jacobs all cut up and bruised? And like,
was bruised.
Was he?
Not that. No.
His
No.
ears look
The
bigger
point
to
is-
me.
You're
my
such an asshole.
Like,
oh my god.
Was Daniel Jacobs just?
So
Just lost a lot of fans,
rude.
guys.
I know.
I know.
Was-
what
Come
is
at me.
rude?
Make
Oh
sure you don't cry when you type.
But was
You're
Daniel
so
keyboard.
was
rude.
Daniel Jacobs like annihilated in that
No,
fight?
nope.
In fact, was he ever in danger of even going down?
Nah. I
Like,
don't
did
think
you
so.
guys look at any point and go, Jesus, he's about to go? No,
Probably.
he never looked like that.
When?
He never looked like that.
Oh, I'm just fucking.
And
I'm
Canelo
just
never
fucking
looked like
with
that
you.
either.
God
So
damn.
you
Yeah.
can't look at that and go like, oh well, clearly Canelo's one shot made up for the 4 that were landed on him.
Well, visually, that's what
when
it
neither
seems
guy
like.
like
Visually, yeah.
Because,
I agree.
Because if
I
you throw
agree.
7 and the guy throws 1 and you step back,
Yeah,
you're like,
I think that depends on like
No,
the rest
I
of
agree.
the rest of the fight too. Like, it's sad to say this, but like if that's the one round that's the most close, you're like, you know, I'm gonna give this one to Jacobs because he like
that's
volume
what
punching.
I feel like that's what I
So,
did in my score.
courtesy
I'm
rounds?
like, I gotta
Courtesy
give it
rounds,
just
yeah,
because.
courtesy rounds are a thing.
Because if I say it's 11-1, people are gonna be like, you don't know shit. I'm like, I'll give it to Jake.
Yeah.
Cool.
11-1, you're like Brian Kenny over here.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacobs did some good things, but I think just and I know you shouldn't do this, but it's like based on that fight with Triple G, where you saw what that size advantage did, you expected more, and he didn't impose his size. Because I think Joe, you even talked about it, I was like, he's a taller fighter, but he doesn't look like the taller. He never fights tall.
fighter.
Yeah,
So it's
I agree.
yeah.
He didn't use the size advantage.
Real quick, he weighed in 186 reportedly on fight night
Yeah.
or the day of, and Canelo 175. So
Yeah, and back to the Chris
11
punches.
pounds.
Yeah, back to the Chris punches. Canelo has a shorter jab, but that jab was so much more effective than the supposed longer reach.
And that's what I think on my podcast before the fight. I said, like, I need Jacobs to use it, and he needs to do what Triple G did to Lemieux.
Yeah,
That's how Jacobs is going to win that fight. If he can use his jab and box on the outside, that's what I expected.
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought
expected
too.
him to, like, jab the fuck Canelo away and, like, keep his distance and box on the outside.
But it didn't work with Triple G. That's the thing. You
No.
look at it and you go, yeah,
No,
well,
I
Triple
meant that
G
that's
tried
what
to
I
do
need.
the jab. And
No, that's what I... Wait.
no, I'm
Triple G
saying when
to
you
him.
when you watch Triple G fight Canelo, he's using
the jab.
an
yeah.
excellent jab.
Oh, yeah, but
right?
it's not the same.
And
It
it's
didn't
all
work.
He's slower,
around the
though.
outside and all
slower
this. He's
than
using the jab the entire
Jacobs.
time, and it's
Because
and
that's
it
the
didn't
only
get him to
reason.
win.
That's the only reason why people think that Triple G won the second one. Because they're like, oh, but the jab, a jab is efficient for making scoring points, for maintaining your distance,
For
for
setting up
maybe
some-
setting up another punch. But it doesn't win you fights. Like a jab alone, as spectacular as Triple G's jab is, it's not gonna win you fights. It's
So
not gonna be the reasoning behind it.
I don't even know if he answered, but what was the thing you liked most about Canelo?
I think his
I
head
think you
movement.
said his. What'd you say? His defense.
I said his defense was on point, and I think his punches are always
Clean.
very clean. Yeah, like everything he throws is clean.
For you, his defense.
his head movement. Like we've been calling Canelo flat-footed since we've
I was
been,
gonna say like
you know, and
I hate
he's
when
still
people say
pretty
that.
heavy-footed. He's not like a footwork guy.
yeah.
He's definitely hasn't had the footwork advantage against any of his competition. But I guess Triple G because he's fucking flat-footed too. But he makes up for it in head and waist movement, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
He
looked-
looked great.
That's actually something I said when we were watching the fight. I was like, he looks like he's a fighter from a different era.
Yeah.
I'm used to watching like old school film, and a lot of fighters
Mm-hmm.
back then are flat-footed, but they know how to shorten that distance. They know how to. They have this awkward posture, which is very.
I love
Short,
the
but-
way he looked
Yeah.
when he made Golovkin. What the fuck is wrong with me? When he made Jacobs miss, like
Yeah, oh,
after, like
man.
when he made a
Please
miss,
do not
he
confuse
looked
those two.
so confident. He would just
Yeah.
look back and like not smile, not do anything, but you could tell he was
He's
like,
confident,
yeah,
yeah.
bitch, I did that.
When
I
He
saw
has an
that-
excellent poker face.
When
actually.
Jacobs
Yeah.
fell, that one Superman punch.
Oh yeah,
that,
he was
Oh,
like-
yeah.
that was pretty funny. But
There was a point in time where he had backed Jacobs up to the ropes and was throwing combinations, and Danny actually landed 2 really solid, like clean hooks in a row, and then immediately Canelo started retreating, right? And you look at it and you know those punches hurt. You would never know it to look at Canelo. You never know that. Other than the fact that you just can tell, like, wow, he was applying aggressive pressure and now is, essentially on his way back to the other side of the ring. Obviously, those shots did something, but you wouldn't know
Just
it.
took it, man.
Yeah,
Roll with it.
you wouldn't know it.
what
So-
did you like the most of
Yeah,
Canelo? I guess.
Just like I said, just his. We always say like flat-footed is it's like
I never saw it as a bad thing.
It's like
flat-footedness.
it's you get more power from your punches if you're like that. You're feeling like that. You're shortening that distance.
Or balance.
Yeah, to me, like he was actually really close to Jacobs, where he was, landing really good shots. Obviously not, the type of punches where you knock a person down. Because I think Jacobs did a good job in, evading something like those punches. But yeah, dude, I he looked great, dude. He just looked great in there. This is like another performance.
Brian Kenny over here.
This
A room full of Brian Kenny.
yeah, this one alongside the Triple G2 are the ones I'm like, God damn, this is
Yeah.
a great fighter.
I like his defense too. I agree with you guys, but I think I saw that before though. Like against Triple G, for some reason people don't talk about it in those fights, but
Yeah.
he showed that too. I liked his accuracy. because they showed the percentages after, right? He landed like 45% or some ridiculous percentage. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
Triple G1 was very different though because he was using his feet for defense.
More,
so
yeah.
right, like so for Triple G1, he's using his feet to actually work his
against
way
the
around
ropes,
the
you still
outside.
see
It was more like Triple G2.
Yeah.
Like on that one, he's the flat-footed coming forward. But I think Triple G1, you see a different kind of defense that people kind of get annoyed by. No, they do. Like I actually think that when you see people who use their feet and work around the outside of the ring a lot, a lot of boxing fans will have a tendency to say he's running.
We
He's
talked about
he's
that,
running. He's doing this. So people don't like that.
We talked about that last week when Anthony Sims was here because a lot of people were booing him at the forum for doing
Sure.
that in the last rounds.
Yeah.
But when you're up like 8-1 in the scorecards and you're going into the last round, it's like, do you want to go out there and scrap or just call it a day?
And people have terminology for that, right? Getting on your bike.
Yeah.
Get
on your bike.
Well, honestly, now that you mentioned that, the later rounds, that's what I was hoping Danny would do in the last rounds. I'm like, motherfucker, just box. Like, don't engage. You already secured the fight with the second knockdown in the 11th. The 12th, I was hoping he'd just go out and, like, cruise, like, have TJ, chase him. No, he's, like, going toe-to-toe again. I'm like, don't. Oh, my God. I was
But it
like.
was so much better, wasn't it?
Yes.
As a boxing fan, you
Yes.
watch it and you're like, it's so
As a
much
boxing
better.
fan, yes. But, yeah, I was very scared.
Yeah. Man, the thing I like to differentiate is do you want to see a boxing match or a fight? Most casuals want to see a fight, not a boxing match.
It's
I think
not just
I think
casuals,
everybody.
though.
I just hate when people boo.
I think everybody. Yeah, I get you.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, I
Get
think-
it out.
Yeah, it's not just casuals though, because if you think about it, the fights that we put on a pedestal, like
Are the
boxing
fights?
purists, like the people who love boxing, they're Gaddy and Ward,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
right.
fight.
Like they're fights like this where you look at it and you're like, oh well, it's your Hagler and your Hearns and your Gaddy and your Ward, and you think about it, those aren't pure boxing matches,
it's a
and they're
fight.
not pure boxers. So it's really not just casuals. Like
Yeah.
everybody likes a good scrap.
Yeah.
That's what everybody likes to see.
But with
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.